Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 50 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week I brought in 1,660 points. Pretty healthy jump, almost 200 points up from a week ago. And closing back in on the mark I'd really like to be above weekly, which is 2,000. But after a lot of changeover in games recently, it's been hard to get back up to that mark. The current virtual best is back above 2,000 at least, at 2,059. And the all-time virtual best does continue to climb, only by 33 points this week though, at 4,323 points. Looking at the 10 games individually, Football Manager 2019, only 3 points added there, now at 314. A little bit of a tough stretch of games that we faced this week. And in Pro Evolution Soccer, the new one to the channel, no goals, no assists over the last episode. So only 1 point added as the attribute rating increased by 1. And in NBA 2K19, we're still playing through the prologue, but as we move into the G League, we now had a chance to actually check our attribute rating, which is a 60 on that one. So that's the initial there. Draft Day Sports College Basketball wraps up the season with an NCAA tournament bid, another outstanding season, and an improvement to the record score there for the second time in 2 seasons, after having sit on the previous high score for quite a few seasons on that one. We are well into that playthrough. We are working our way up into the higher divisions now, and those NCAA tournament bids are going to start coming a bit more frequently. And if I can get a little deeper into the tournament, we can see that score starting to rise quite a bit more. But 385 points there. And in Dirt Rally, we got a new season underway with 335 points after the record-setting season last week, so that did bring our overall down a bit after the reset on that one. F1 2018, the career mode season 1 came to an end with a double race episode, and the first DNF of our career, the first and only one of season number 1. But season number 1 wraps up with 277 points, and we end the season with the best chassis out of any team. But we also have the worst aero package of any team, which actually made those last couple of races awkward to drive, as the chassis was starting to get really good and the car was nimble but then still wouldn't turn. So it was awkward. It was difficult to find the setup of those last couple of races, but the aero department is fully upgraded in terms of the department itself, the efficiency, and so on. We're not going to make any mistakes. Everything's cheap. And there was an aero reset at the end of the season, which was why I didn't touch the aero department in terms of upgrades. But entering season 2, those aero upgrades should start coming fast and furious. And we should start getting to a relatively competitive car somewhere around mid-season. Motorsport Manager, we remain at 23 points. Our career in F1 got off to such a bright start, but points have been very hard to come by since then. The car is just not competitive yet. But the fact is, we're not at the very back, at least not very often. And so we are at least putting in some competitive performances, but reaching the points, reaching that top 10 is really difficult. Pro Cycling Manager in the team mode, the career mode, we are doing so well, but because we are in the lowest echelon of the racing series and sticking to the lowest races and not actually getting very many wins for the most part, we are just competing for top 5s where we're totally overmatched. My best rider is a 66. Points are just slow to come by, so we sit at 13 right now, just 2 higher than last week. In F1 2018, in the Manager Challenge mode, oh boy, it is an interesting mode, but it is also a difficult mode. I'm at 32 points now, which already eclipsed our season-ending total of 31 from a season ago, because we only had 4 Constructors points all last season, so only 4 points were dropped from my total, and a couple car upgrades later, and we're back above that point. And I think we are off to, a 1-point start on the season, I believe, with Charles Leclerc having scored that 1 point. My driver, meanwhile, the AI just refuses to do anything, never puts in a performance. I've never finished higher than 16th all of season 1 and so far into season 2, so it's going to take some serious car upgrades to get competitive results, especially out of my driver. In Pro Cycling Manager, in the Pro Cyclist mode, the long running series, now in season number 4, my second season at the World Tour level, my rider is really starting to come into his own, and points are starting to come a lot faster. I am now competitive against World Tour riders. I've grabbed some stage wins. I'm getting into those top 5 kind of finishes. So while I'm not quite there yet, I'm not dominant yet, I'm now competitive and regularly getting to play the role of team leader. And that's going to make a huge difference. So points are starting to pour in on that one. And as close as I am to the record of 2 seasons ago, I think that's going to come just crashing down here real soon. And we're going to eclipse that record by quite a bit this season. Will I get to 400 or 500? I don't know if I'll get quite that high. But by the next season, watch out. Watch out. We are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But once again, the overall 1660, good jump from last week. And with 2 games resetting, the college basketball, the F1 2018, those scores are going to drop a bit. They will drop a bit. But in F1 2018, a lot of those points are in the car, not too much in the points. So I don't think it'll drop that much. And then, of course, in college basketball, there's a good amount of points that are now into permanent points and what division we're in. But a good amount of those points do come from the competitive season, so there will be a bit of a drop next week. Quick look on the other side at the all-time virtual best. Absolutely no changes in the top 10 other than Draft Day Sports picking up 30 points and Football Manager 2019 picking up 3 points, raising that total by 33 overall. Outside of the top 10, F1 2018, with its season-ending move to get up to 277, did move from 12th to 11th, so it is now best of the rest. I wish my car was best of the rest, but we've got a ways to go to make that happen. But anyway, it is up to 11th place now, so it is looking at either Motorsport Manager or Overcooked 2, overtaking them at some point in the not-too-distant future, but we're going to have to move into Season 2, so it will take a while before that can happen. Pro Cycling Manager down in 14th. Could it be the next one to climb into the top 10? As, like I said, points are going to come a lot faster there. Or could it be one of the newcomers, Pro Evolution Soccer or NBA 2K, which got its scoring underway this week, where both of those could potentially add a decent amount of points in a shorter period of time? Well, we'll see. Tune in next week as I continue my journey on the road to the record.